This car is asking a lot of serious questions about my driving abilities. And to be honest, I don't think it's very impressed with my answers. This is a lot of car for the road, a lot of car. All right, we're back on the road again, albeit this time at a much more reasonable speed. I also wanted to discuss an article that I came across recently that claimed that the Corvette is the second deadliest car on the road. So that raises the obvious question, is the C8 Corvette a death trap? No, it isn't. Actually, this is a remarkably easy car to drive quickly, as long as you don't get too silly with it. But with that said, I'm not surprised that this car ranks so high on the deadly car list. I'll explain why in a second. But on a side note, ironically, I traded in my Ford Bronco for this car about a year ago, and the Bronco ranked number 17 on this list. So I traded in one deadly vehicle for another that's even more deadly. Apparently I have an affinity for deadly vehicles. And just in case you were wondering, the Hyundai Venue ranked number 1 as the deadliest car in America. And honestly, I have no idea why that is. It looks relatively harmless to me. But getting back to this car and why I'm not surprised that it's the second deadliest vehicle on the road. This is probably the most power and performance that you can get at this price point. A brand new one starts at 70-ish grand, and the used car market is just flooded with these things. I've seen decent examples in the 50s. It's not exactly cheap, but I would still call it a relative bargain. So with that as a backdrop, all of a sudden, you give a whole lot of people access to a whole lot of power and performance. Inevitably, you're gonna have a few who might not be used to this kind of power and performance and don't understand what it takes to control it, and the end result? Disaster. This car has 495 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, and can do near as makes no difference 200 miles an hour. That is a lot. Now, I'm sure there'll be people out there saying that's not that much, given that we're in an era where cars have upwards of 1,000 horsepower. But let me provide you with a bit of context. Those of you with long memories might recall about 15 years ago when a car debuted in America by the name of Nissan GTR. Remember how the GTR basically destroyed everything at any price point, from 911 turbos to Lamborghinis to Ferraris? It embarrassed them all. And it did it for only 70-something grand? Well, that car had, wait for it, 480 horsepower. It did 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds and had a top speed of 191 miles per hour. The GTR was basically the fastest car in the world at the time, and this car is faster. And adjusted for inflation, it's quite a bit cheaper too. So to put a bow on all this, yes, the Corvette is the second deadliest car on the road. But I don't think this car is inherently dangerous. I think this unfortunate ranking is due to driver error. People pushing the car beyond its limits and beyond their driving abilities. Basically, asking the car to do the impossible. I'm curious to get your opinions on this article and whether or not you agree with my assessment of the situation. This is gonna wrap it up for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Drive safe. See you next video.